In the race to net zero emissions, the largest petrochemical hub in Southeast Asia faces a monumental task of figuring out the next sustainable solutions that can power its industries. Can waste oils and animal fat be used to propel planes and ships?
So what we have here is various different waste and residue oils and fats type of raw materials. We are converting this into high-quality renewable products.
Neste is the world's largest producer of renewable diesel and renewable jet fuel, with plants in Finland, Singapore, and the Netherlands. It derives 90% of its profits from renewables. Few would imagine today that Neste used to be an oil refinery until it embarked on a transition to clean energy in 2005.
Last year, as an example, our products helped our customers to reduce their emissions by 10.9 million tons of CO2 equivalent. So that compares roughly to taking 4.2 million cars off the roads.
Neste is expanding its Singapore plant so that it can serve as a renewables hub for the Asia-Pacific region.
We are early next year commissioning our expansion to the Singapore refinery and giving us also here in the region million tons of sustainable aviation fuel production capacity.
Made from 100% renewable raw materials, Neste's renewable diesel produces 90% less greenhouse gas emissions than fossil fuels. Renewable jet fuel is being trialed by airlines that are seeking to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Aviation currently accounts for 3% of global emissions, but with volumes set to triple by mid-century, there is an urgency to replace fossil fuels with cleaner fuels. But the issue is price. Renewable jet fuel currently costs up to 5 times more than conventional jet fuel, and prices are set to rise due to soaring raw materials costs.
Flying will probably need to become a bit more expensive, but the cost of doing nothing is still much more greater than the cost we are talking with here.
Given the size of the challenge at hand, there are calls for urgent action, even if it may not be the perfect solution.
We cannot switch from fossil fuel today to electrolyzers, wind, solar panel so easily. We will have to manage in between a transition period where fossil fuels are going to be still part of the solution.
We shouldn't let, for example, the perfect be the enemy of the good. There are solutions.
Taking the fossil out of fuel for the maritime industry is more difficult than aviation due to the infrastructure involved. The maritime industry accounts for another 3% of global emissions today, but volumes are seen tripling by 2050.
Singapore has big ambition and it wants to maintain its lead as the largest bunkering hub. It's going to be a multi-fuel landscape.
To tackle a common problem, countries are seeking collaboration and open innovation. Singapore is looking into setting up cross-border power links with Laos, Malaysia, and Thailand.
The key is to zoom out and look at the boundary from the regional perspective. There will be ambition to import up to 4 gigawatts of renewable power, the last option being low-carbon alternative energy.
Within Singapore, there is also discussion to utilize new technologies such as carbon capture to make use of the concentrated levels of CO2 on Jurong Island, the main petrochemical hub, to transform it into a sustainable oil refinery hub. Carbon capture technology is about storing or reusing carbon dioxide emissions so that they are not emitted into the atmosphere. Singapore's goal is to capture at least 2 million tons of CO2 on Jurong Island by 2030, but a large-scale application of carbon capture comes with challenges.
For a lot of economies in Asia, whether it's carbon capture, storage and utilization, or ammonia, are these lofty goals that are too difficult and they might be priced out?
I think so. I think we need to look at solutions, and it also depends on the price point, right? When these different types of fuel come to scale, the price would come down.
With an array of costly solutions and new technologies in development, Singapore is investing heavily in R&D to lower the cost of development and to better understand the infrastructure required.
In Southeast Asia, you have frontrunners, and Singapore is one of them. Singapore is among the 55 countries having put in place carbon tax. We know that the price is going to increase up to $45 in 2026. Singapore is playing a big role here.
But the efforts to transition to a net zero economy face a complicated backdrop. Urban migration and population growth will increase energy needs in Southeast Asia, the only region in the world that is set to witness rising coal use in the next couple of decades.
Whether it is accessibility and affordability to competitive low-carbon alternatives versus security versus demand, and you see a spike in coal to power. But having said that, the key is to focus on the progress.
Currently, we're not pricing the price of pollution. We do need to internalize those prices in order for incumbent technologies to come on board. Does that mean the prices would go up? Probably.